Hello guys, now you might notice that I'm starting this video with a paused replay. The whole point of that is we're going back to basics. We're going to be looking at keybinds, we're going to be looking at mods, and then we're going to be looking at how to be battle aware within the game. These three things will be useful to anybody who plays the game. Whether you like playing light tanks, whether you like playing medium tanks, heavy tanks, TDs, artillery, whatever floats your boat, hopefully this video will be useful for you. We'll start off looking at the keybinds then. So going into settings, going into controls, I'll bring up the first thing, which is consumables. Now I know a lot of advanced and really good players will use different keybinds for consumable 4, 5 and 6 so that they can quickly and rapidly set off either their repair kit, their health kit or fire extinguisher, so that there's no delay. You're in the small repair kit, the small first aid kit. Any keybind that you put into 4, 5 or 6 will also be put into the sub menu within that. So consumable 4, if you keybind it to E, to be able to use section 4, the sub menu, you have to hit the E key. It's a pain in the ass. I just keep it to the basic 1 to 8. Now moving on to messages. Big thing is the T key. 10 targets up. It's good having the T for requesting fire, because it's the old way of doing it and it's not far from the keyboard, so I just keep that. Another one that I change is C for affirmative. C, confirm, affirmative, whatever way you want to do it. Reason why I do that is sometimes people request help or somebody's reloading. It's always handy to be quick to say affirmative, to let them know that you're aware of what they're looking, anything like that. Even within clan wars, if the commander is giving you an order, hitting the C key, affirmative, means you're not using up TeamSpeak error, but the commander knows that you heard it. So it's a handy keybind to have, and it's nice and quick. Beside the D, just hit the C. Another one is help, the F key. Don't use it that often, but you know, it's handy for panic things and just right beside. Negative, I hardly ever hit negative. Defend the base, hardly ever hit defend the base. If I'm going back to defend the base, I usually just do help and then ping the map. That's the way I do it. Don't see the point of defend the base, but there you have it. Another one is one of my side buttons within the mouse is to the reload macro. I love that World of Tanks have actually added within you saying reloading how many seconds your autoloader has left to reload, how many seconds your artillery shell will be reloaded. You don't need any of those bloated and overly complicated chat macro mods. I know some people love them. I just think they're more pain than what they're worth, so don't bother with them. With that, as you can see, reload shell container is on the other button beside that one on the side of my mouse, so I can do reload and then click the other button, reloading. All the rest is basically standard. Another thing to be aware of, zoom in, zoom out of the minimap. Learn those buttons, especially zoom in. Learn it. Do it a couple of times and then forget about them. Amount of times I see somebody playing with the default size minimap, and you can't see jack shit with the default size minimap. You need it a little bit larger to keep yourself battle aware, but we'll get into that later on. So that's the keybinds. Now I could go into video game settings, but that's due to preference. I like it a little bit nice, so high textures, far view range. Far view range helps gameplay as well, by the way, but it's all down to preference. I don't like too much shiny stuff because it just gets in the road of the game, and I find, yeah, it might be cool looking, but it just annoys me. so I don't enjoy it, so I keep the likes of effects and everything down low. Tweak around and find your own comfort settings. I know a lot of people already have done, but if you find that you can't see anything just due to all the smoke and special effects and everything, it might be worthwhile dropping down post-processing and effects and particles or whatever the hell down a couple of notches, so you can see more and therefore enjoy more of the game. We get on to mods. Now everybody knows I use XVN. I even have the chance to win on. This year's a glorious 67%. It's a whitewash, but that's besides the point. I was just using a random replay. Don't let the chance to win that's up there dishearten you and give up in the game. Use it to go, well, I'm going to have to work my stones here to be able to do the best that I can. Main thing to use it for is looking at the enemy side and seeing who the good players and who the bad players are, especially whenever you're engaging them. Another good thing is being able to see who your close allies are and going, yeah, I can really rely on him. I'll flank around, he'll notice that I'm flanking around and come around the other way, and we'll rip into pieces that big heavy that's sitting there. Or you can see it and go, he's just going to let me die. I'm going to have to be careful, I'm going to have to be defensive. Each their own, but you know, it's a good thing knowing your friendlies. The other one is Jimbo's crosshair mods. I think a lot of people use it. I think it's one of the best crosshairs out there. Minimalistic, but it has information there. Doesn't take up too much screen space. It's nice and clean and crisp. You know, the default crosshairs, there's nothing wrong with them, but I like having it defined. You know, a solid line. See the little wee broken dot bits? Nah, I don't like that. I like having a defined line. That's what keeps me happy. Another cool thing about the Jimbo crosshair mods is if you can see my turret aiming reticle, there's two lines in it. Basically what that means is you've got the wide circle where all your shots will be going in through the outer circle, but most of them will be going in through the inner circle. So it gives you a chance of knowing, well, I've got a 80%, 90% chance that all the shots are going in through the inner circle there, that wee inner green band, you know, but there's still a chance they'll go out of that. It means that if you're firing on the move or doing a snapshot, you know, you can use the inner circle just to know that, well, 80% of the shots are going to go in there, 90%, whatever the actual value is. It's kind of like a bell curve. You know, most of the shots will be smack bang in the center, and then it spreads off and tapers down to the sides to the immediate outside circle. So I like the two circle thing within Jimbo's crosshairs. It's a good guide. Really enjoy the game with it. Right, with that, I'll add the gameplay here through. The next thing I'm going to go through is a wee thing that I've thought up of, which is a mnemonic called O.R.P.H.A.N.S. What's a mnemonic, you may ask? Well, guys, a mnemonic is a way of using a sequence of letters that might make up a word or they might not, to allow you to remember what to do in certain circumstances. Mnemonics within my line of work as a paramedic is crucial. It keeps people alive, basically. Allows you to rapidly assess somebody, rapidly check them out, to know what you need to do, what to look out for, anything like out there. Believe me, mnemonics work, guys. Mnemonics are brilliant. A lot of people always think that, oh, they take too long, and they might make things overcomplicated and stuff like that. They honestly don't. They're great for assessing things quickly, rapidly and efficiently, and making sure that you keep a wide open view on something and then slowly narrow it down to one point and ensure you don't forget something. So that's the reason why I came up with O.R.P.H.A.N.S. So we'll go through what O.R.P.H.A.N.S is about. Well, with O.R.P.H.A.N.S, you initially start off with O, which is the objective. You have to be aware of what type of game mode we're playing, which is the standard battle. Also, the map that you're in, which is O.R.P.H.A.N.S. Big shiny O.R.P.H.A.N.S. Oh, that's another thing about it. XVM, I'll just say this before, it's got lots of options for doing stuff. I love it. If anybody needs my safe configuration file for XVM, just hit me up. I'm happy to send it to you. It's a bit of a mixture of everybody's, but I kept it as clean as possible. Don't like too much clutter within the game. But the holding down control for bringing up the minimap is brilliant. So I'll continue on now with objective. Need to know the flashpoints? Well, usually the flashpoints for medium tanks is around here. Which usually you have the enemy medium tanks, friendly medium tanks going pew pew pew, the artillery here, enemy artillery here maybe, or TDs, everything like that. That's a common flashpoint on this map for all the heavies, you know, them just slugging it out there. Thankfully we're able to push all the way down to around here. And there's not many friendlies knocking around. There's one medium there, there's one TD, but we do have artillery. I think the artillery is helping us out a lot. But with knowing the map, you need to have experience about the map. Another thing about objective is the likes of, is your cap getting captured by the enemy, or do you need to help friendlies capturing? That can change what the objective is about. Are you defending, are you attacking? How much time is left in the capture points? Can you out-capture the enemy team, or does somebody need to reset the cap? To sum up objective, in a nutshell, it's the overall goal and what your whole team should be aiming at doing in that current battle and the current stage of the battle. So at the start you might be defending. Most of the time whenever you are defending, the likes of the attack defend, you know, you just keep the defending. But if one enemy team is sitting there in the corner of the map and there's 5 minutes left, who wants to sit there for 5 minutes? So at that stage you have to go on the attack and hunt down the little card wherever the hell he is. Next stage is the rest of the players are. First and foremost, you need to know your friendly team players, and then you look at the enemy team players. The reason why you look at the friendly team players is to know how many fast tanks, how many slow tanks, how many heavy armoured, how many TDs, how many fast firing artillery, how many artillery you do have, how many light scouts, what could they all be doing, where would they might go, where should I go then in relation to that. That's the reason why you look at your friendly team players first of all. To add to that, the likes of, well, is there good team players that I could team up with? Would they be doing similar stuff? Will we work together? Will we do a little wolf pack? It all depends on looking at the friendly team. Whenever you're looking at the enemy team, it's near enough exactly the same thing, but you're looking at them as a threat. Well, that's obvious. With the enemy team, you're looking at the map. Are they mounting a push on one side? Where are they all sitting? Are your friendly team going to get overrun? Anything like that. So it's crucial to know the minimap. Another part of that is looking at the platoons on the friendly side and the enemy side. Well, would they be all bunched together, or are they a bit of a hodgepodge? Is there a wee scout with R.D.? So you know that if you see a scout, the R.D. is going to be shooting around where that wee scout is, because they're working together. Kinda sounds weird, doesn't it? But a lot of times if you see a scout, maybe the R.D.'s busy on the other flank, but if you see a scout that's the same platoon as the R.D., you know for sure that R.D. is going to be hitting around that immediate area. So that's one reason to be aware of it. On with that, you're looking at you as a player. What tank you're in compared to your team, compared to the enemy. What role you should be acting in. Should you be acting as a scout, flank or defence? Anything from objective or rest of players. Well, it should be affecting what you decide is your role within that game. On to the next stage, which is H for health and safety. To be able to act on any of the above, you need to make an immediate risk assessment. Or I had to get risk assessment in with health and safety. It was just had to do it. With the risk assessment, you're looking at the amount of hit points that you currently have. Do you have to act cautiously, or does something need to require immediate attention? So with that, I'm near full health points. I need to do something immediate here to reset the cap. Don't have to, but I have loads of hit points, so I can act immediate. Even though I don't need to, might as well act immediate. Now I've only had 100 health points, but I still have plenty of time. Well, I would have had to have acted more cautious there. That's what you're talking about, the health and safety. Can you take a risk, or do you have to act cautiously? Do you have the time to act cautiously? Do you have the time to take a risk? The next stage within orphans is A for allies / aggressors. These are the players within your immediate effective area. What are your friendlies doing? Can you rely on the support of some of your friendlies? Are they supporting you, or are they busy being blindsided by their own little mini fights within the battlefield? Are they not battle war? Anything like that. Are your friendlies pushing? Are the enemies pushing? What's the composition of the enemies? Can you rely on your friendlies? So, as I was saying, first of all, you're looking for through our rest of the team. You're looking at the minimap. Then within A, allies and aggressors, you're looking at the immediate area. With that, you always look at your friendlies first, then the enemies. Try and keep your friendlies alive. Try and help them out as much as possible, and then try and kill the enemies. Next thing is N for necessary. All the information that you've gathered, all the way from objective, the minimap, your role, media players within your area, everything like that. Do you need to do something there and then? Are you required on another part of the map, or should you get really defensive in preparation for an enemy push? Try to survive spamming the help button until help arrives. Anything like that there. If you're in a light tank, can you go scouting for the enemy arty? Or is it just a bit too stupid because it's too early in the game and the enemy tanks are still beside all of the arty? Or is it later on in the game, everybody's dispersed? Now's the time, I'll go push. With that, the final bit is S for strike. Strike means you do your action. You do the scouting, you get the scouting scouted, you fire that shot, you go defensive because an enemy push is coming, and you just hug yourself and cry yourself to sleep. Just going, please don't hit me, please don't hit me. Anything like that there. Do what needs to be done. The worst thing you can do is sit there indecisive and go on, what should I do, what should I do, what should I do? If you're going to do something, do something. Even if it's the wrong thing, do something. Take that last final shot. Get yourself in a really defensive position to try and deflect that last couple of shots, cause the enemy to come closer to try and flank, get them bloodlust to come towards you. Maybe the friendly team will revenge you and take out the enemy tanks. Even though you're dead, the enemy tanks have now opened themselves up to getting shot. Sometimes Dan is a good thing, because you've caused 3 enemy tanks to just see red. They've overextended themselves, and your friendlies have just ripped them to pieces and destroyed them. Sometimes it is worth doing that. So with that, guys, that's Orphans. You start from the top, O.R.P.H.A.N.S. and you continually reassess yourself, even during shell reloads, a lull in the battle. Glance at the minimap, glance at the immediate area, and just continue down that. Believe me guys, it only takes a fraction of a second, but the worst thing that you can do is get tunnel vision, and the next thing that happens is you look up and go, oh, our whole flank on the other side is gone. There's only 4 of us left against 10. We've pushed too far and the enemy are just starting to circle around us. It happens guys. Don't let it happen to you. Keep battle aware. Work with your teammates. React to what's happening on the battlefield and you'll do a heck of a lot better. The next video I'll be doing will be looking at tier 10 medium tanks. The reason for looking at the tier 10 medium tanks is basically explaining their strengths, their weaknesses, what medium tanks are used within DR UK for clan wars and what ones aren't, and more importantly the reasons why we don't use them. There's some awesome tier 10 medium tanks out there that just don't fit to the role that we need them within clan wars. So hopefully you guys find this video interesting, keep me filled. Well, till next time guys, take it easy and have fun out there. More importantly, have fun.